So, I've got this chuck on my lathe. This is what came with it. It's a set true 3-jaw scroll chuck, but it's a standard chuck. Which, in all reality, for what I'm doing, is probably perfectly sufficient. But I never like to leave things alone for some reason. It is set up where you can have a chuck, hydraulic chuck. So if you see these two buttons, I'm supposed to be able to do a chuck in or a chuck open and close here and with an M code. And you've got these 3 plugs that I'm 90% sure has something to do with the chuck, the hydraulics for the chuck actuator, which is supposed to go here and bolt in to these holes. Now this is a Mori Seiki SL1, and I got on eBay and started looking around and found this chuck. So this is a hydraulic chuck. I got just the chuck itself. I happen to have the right T-nuts. And to be honest with you, I've never used a hydraulic chuck. I really didn't know anything about them. But it looks like it's the right bolt pattern. So if you look at these bolt holes here, right there, they appear... I just dropped my chuck, doggone it. They appear to match up to these bolt holes that are on the back. I can't believe I just did that. Look at that, I just dropped my chuck. Oh. Okay. Either way, so the way this thing appears to work is, you see this pushes in and out. So you would have a pipe, basically, that would thread into this, that would go through the headstock, and that's about the travel that you're going to get. So it's literally just kind of a wedge, is all it basically is. And I bought some, this is a 6-inch chuck. I bought some soft jaws, and I bought some hard jaws for it. These were, so this chuck was like 500 and something bucks. These were 100 and something, 130, and these were like 30. I'll probably end up having to buy a bunch more of these, but I figured that'd be something to get me started. When I got it, it came with, these, more or less. And then I bought this, which is the actual chuck actuator thingy. Problem is, this was like $400, and it came with this. So this is what's supposed to thread into the actuator, and that threads into the chuck. I don't know if anybody sees the problem, but it don't fit. It's way too big. This is way too small. So I looked, and the measurements that it said, which I was stupid and should have measured everything, I thought they were measuring the OD. They were actually measuring the ID, which is what I measured over there. So the ID of this is the same as the ID of my lathe headstock. So I can't find another one of these that's the actual right thing. So what I'm thinking, and so here's your 2 hydraulic things. And this is, I'm not 100% sure if that's a return or what. I really don't know. It's some kind of a drain, I'm guessing. I would imagine this mounts where that's going towards the floor, and these holes somehow orient it. So you would mount these 6 holes are supposed to mount here. So you would have bolts that come in from the back side. It's countersunk in here. What I'm thinking about doing, I'd love to be able to find this size, the actual right piece, and put in here. But I'm thinking about taking a piece of 1/4-inch plate, giving it this hole pattern where I can screw in from the back side, and then have the other hole pattern on the outside that matches the bigger one. And then I would have to make an adapter that would drop this thread here down to this thread here. So as you can see, it's not even close to the right size. So this one is way bigger, but the fact that it's way bigger should give me the ability to make a new one of these. So what I was going to try to do is find some tubing, because the inside I really don't want to seam or anything. Find some tubing that is the right ID, and then just turn it down, rethread it. I could thread it this size on one end and then that size on the other. And I could just do that on the manual lathe for now. Do it over here on the Howa. So that's my intention, because I would eventually like the ability to run, more or less production on this thing if I wanted to. So if I wanted to run 1,000 parts, you can actually get a puller. So you replace one of these tools with this little tooth looking thing, and you would have a rod in here, and it would, run its parts, and then you have enough stick out to where your tool thing comes in, grabs it, this lets go, pulls it out a certain amount, this rechucks it, and then there's your next part. So it comes out and then it restarts. So you could just constantly feed bar in here and make whatever you want. Whether or not I'm ever going to do that or not, I have no idea, but I just want the ability to. So I've got all this stuff that I can't even use right now, but eventually I hopefully will be able to. So I don't know if anybody knows anything about this, or if anyone knows where I can get the right size of this thing, which would be awesome. I hate that it was right at $400 by the time I got this to the shop. So I've got, well over $1,000 at this point when you consider the jaws, the chuck, and I don't really know exactly what you call this thing. I'm calling it the puller. So worst case scenario, I can adapt this somehow to that one. Another thing I had considered is if I found the right size, I might even be able to adapt it to this lathe. So, it actually has a larger through hole in it. So if I found the right one for this one, I could actually use it in this lathe. I've actually got room to spare. So, I'd have to make a new bar thingy, but I could actually adapt this. Everything's wanting to fall. Stay. I could adapt a flange here. So I can make a sleeve that goes on here, maybe has some screw thingies. And, it could come out to a flange on the back side, and I could actually put this on the back side and actually do production type stuff with my project lathe if I ever get to that point. So, that's what I'm looking at. So I there for about 6 months, I just had no ambition to do anything. I did not feel like getting up and doing a thing. So I spent a lot of money. I, kind of looked at what I wanted to do, and I bought stuff on eBay, and I brought it in. Just did that kind of stuff. So I've been stocking up on soft jaws and different things like that. I made these for my 4-jaw or my 4-inch double vices out of some stock I got, which, this was that pile of 4-jaw one or 4-inch ones were maybe $20 from the scrap yard, and that was over $100 and something. I can't remember. So if I can ever find some more of this material cheap, I'm going to grab it and make soft jaws out of it. So I did that, and we've been getting rid of stuff at work that they were going to scrap. So I brought that home. They were throwing all this stuff away. I brought some of this home. Different solder, different stuff that they were just chunking. So, of course, me being the scavenger that I am, I brought it home. I like the box. And that shelf thing down there. And I've also been trying to restock my shelves here. So I've been buying, your off-brand lubricant carburetor cleaner. The other day I couldn't find carburetor cleaner for nothing. Walmart didn't have it. No parts store had it. So when they finally got it in, I bought enough that I could keep a good stock. So I've got brake cleaner, carburetor cleaner, engine starting fluid, black paint, white paint, the two that I use the most, red, which matches my truck, some primer, and just odds and ends kind of stuff. I had oil and all that kind of stuff here. But they were throwing away another shelf at work. So I brought it all back here. So this was at work. It's a nice metal shelf. And so I've got, your antifreeze, transmission fluid, brake fluid. I had some distilled water that we were tossing. Brought it home because you can use that for all kinds of crap. 1540 for my truck and 1030 for 520 and 1030 over here. Odds and ends stuff. So I'm going to make this my fluids shelf and try to keep it stocked because I use this stuff all the time. And, it wasn't that long ago that you couldn't buy this at all. And with the supply chain stuff going the way it is, I want to have this stuff on hand. You need to be able to change your oil. So I'm going to start kind of stocking little things like that. And I've been buying these at Harbor Freight, these little doodads. And as I buy them, I'm just kind of sticking them on the shelf. And eventually, my plan is to take this, and it will literally just be storage, and that's it. I'll probably leave my tire machines in here. I may move them, I don't know. But eventually, the welding stuff and this will go in my other part of my shop in here. But all of this will end up being storage. So my intention is to eventually do that. And, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these. I may move them to over here and then just do storage along this entire wall through here. My little sand blaster back here is going to move out to here as well. And there where the all steel is. And, I've got stuff like that little ring roller down there. And let's see. One of my next things that I bought a spot welder. My intention is to, because this thing is heavy and thick and all that, I was thinking about making some brackets that bolt onto here to where I could have that mounted and sticking out right here and have kind of like a truck hitch 2-inch thing sticking out here somehow to where if I want to put my ring roller in there, I can do that. Somewhere in here, I don't know what I did with it. Oh, I've got that thing. So I thought about mounting that somewhere on this side as well. So use the weight of this to my advantage and turn this into more than just a press brake. You know, this would be a press brake. It would be a bunch of other things. And I'd be able to do quite a bit with this. And especially once this side is opened up, you know, I'll take this and turn it this way and bring it up against the wall back here. And my intention is to, you know, right now it's just here where I can work on it. But eventually, where the back side is, I'm going to bring it all the way up against the wall on the back side. But I'm going to put a door behind it. So say I need to work on this thing, I can just go out. I can go through the back and open a door. Or I may make the door, you know, come out to here or something, where I can open the door, come out here, and if I need to work on something, I can. But it's going to give me as much room as I can possibly get in here. So you can see this is, you know, about 4 foot. It would end up sticking out, you know, ideally to about here. That's only about 3 feet. But my, and again, intention is to pour more concrete that way. So I'll have enough concrete that it can actually kind of sit back that way. And then I'm going to come off of the back side with a lean-to that will hopefully cover this thing. So I am always in a state of flux when I'm doing this stuff, you know, changing plans as I go. But that's my intention. This is going to be my fab shop, press brake, you know, ironwork or whatever. And then you'll be able to go that way and get to my big plasma table, which will be over there eventually. And then probably over in this direction will be my smaller plasma table. I'd considered selling it when I get my big one running, but to be honest with you, I think I'm going to leave it alone and just keep it. But yeah, that's more plans for the shop. Right now, my job is in a state of flux as well. It sounds like we may be getting sold at some point. And if we do, then I don't know where I'm going to be at. So I've got to kind of slow down spending. I've got about $30,000 that I owe for all of this stuff. And I got to stop for a little while, put back a little bit of cash, try to pay some stuff off this year. But, you know, go from there. Yeah, that's what I've got. Eventually, one thing I want to do too is probably reorganize all these shelves, and try to do some stuff with this as well. So I've got all this stuff in here, and I want to reorganize a lot of this stuff. It's just kind of hanging. I've got, you know, pipe tape, wire, wire brushes, tire stuff. And I'm thinking about taking all the tire stuff and putting it over here with the tire tools. What I was considering is mounting a thing to the back of this where it picks up and all my tire stuff would hang, you know, above it somehow. I've got to remount that somewhere. I'm thinking in here, or I may actually mount it in here when I get that done. So I'll have another air hose hanging. And I'm going to try to look for some deals on these things as well. Try to find me a few more of those to where right now I've got them here and here. And that one will actually reach into there. I don't have anything in there, but I really don't need it. But I want to end up with the same kind of stuff either in here or in here. Probably in here. So I'll get maybe 2 more of these, 2 more of those things, and put in here, because this will hopefully end up being my fab side of the shop. And obviously, you know, right now I've just got a small lean-to halfway built, but it's going to be a 20 that way by 30 that way, and then I'm going to have another 12 feet out that way where the plasma table is, and another 12 feet that way. And so I'll have a lot more room. It'll be the same size as this side will be. So, you know, you can see there's quite a bit more room in here versus there. But yeah, if anyone knows anything about this stuff and knows where to source the right size of this, or how this actually plumbs in, I'm assuming it's just, you know, in and out for kind of like a hydraulic cylinder, you know, in and out here. I'm really not 100% sure what that's for. And there's 3 here, so you've got in, out, and maybe return. I don't know, but that's not the same size. You know, these are not the size that I would expect for a return. So I'm assuming I'm going to use one or both of these for, or 1 or 2 of these for the in and out, and I've got a third that I just don't know how it works. So again, if anybody has an idea of how this is plumbed in, how it attaches, and all that kind of stuff, let me know. But yeah, my intention is to adapt it, since I've already spent the money for the one I've got, if I have to, or if I can find another one, buy another one that's the right size. So but yeah, so I'm rambling around again. I don't know why you guys watch my stuff. I just ramble. But yeah, this will hopefully come next at some point, and we'll get some more stuff done. So I'm kind of gearing back up, getting active again, and hopefully I'll get a lot accomplished this year. So anyway, you guys have a good day.